And so, in conclusion, anybody can find a sword and swing it. But to be effective, you have to understand enchantments and how to apply them to your gear. Okay, class, enough of weaponry. Let's move on to our town's history. Now, our last lesson we started talking about the Old Kingdom. Today, we are going to further explore the origins of Asgard. Take a look at the board and pay attention. Many years ago, in a land across the sea, there was a small, prosperous kingdom with a kind and benevolent king and queen who truly cared for their people. An unspeakable evil was about to disrupt this peaceful world. The tyrant Herobrine was coming, killing anyone and anything he wanted. The royal family was given advance warning from a small kingdom that was just about to fall to Herobrine, an honorable act of defiance against the tyrant, and had begun preparations at once. Now, they could have easily escaped alone, but the royal family called for all of their people to join them, not wanting anyone to be left for the mercy of that glowing-eyed freak. Each person was allowed to pack only what would fit inside an ender chest to help reduce the weight of the ships. Nothing but food, water, and people were packed on board those boats. They set sail onto the high seas in search of a new home. The journey seemed to last forever, but in truth took about a month or so to accomplish. Having had little time to prepare for the journey, only half the rations that were needed actually made it onto the ships. Just as those meager supplies were about to run out, a shout sounded, "Land ho!" Cries of joy could be heard from the hungry people aboard the small flotilla of ships as a beautiful wooded coastline came into view. It was an immense expanse of dark oak forest stretching as far as the eye could see. A perceptive guard captain noticed smoke rising above the trees from what he guessed to be a few hearth fires and immediately informed the king. "Sire, this land is occupied. The smoke from cooking fires can be seen in a few places inside the forest. I suggest you and your personal guard go and treat with the natives. Perhaps they will allow us to live alongside them, or at the very least, let us disembark for a few nights to scout the coast for a permanent settlement location." So the king and his men set off. They quickly found a small, impoverished village nestled within the dark oaks. Upon approaching, the group was met by the village chief, a kind and knowledgeable old fellow. The king and he struck a deal. If the newcomers could help develop the village into a prosperous port town, they would be welcome to stay and live with the villagers in harmony. Soon, castle fortifications were in production, up high on top of the mountain with a clear view of the sea. Never again would Herobrine catch them unaware. Next time, they would be ready. One day, an expedition led by a man named Bubba came to the village. They weren't there to pillage or loot. Instead, they claimed to be from the Explorer Team Society, a traveling guild. Bubba wanted to be able to set up a new guild hall in our town. In exchange, Bubba said he would help the struggling villagers to build the castle within 6 months, as well as help train guards and supply equipment to help keep the town safe. All of that sounded too good to be true to the king, queen, and village chief. Bubba knew that the people had fled from Herobrine, so he offered a trust test. If he could defeat the Ender Dragon and kill Herobrine, solving the town's biggest worries, would they then allow the cooperation between the village and the guild? Finally, it was agreed that if Bubba could deliver on his promises within the month, the guild would be allowed to relocate to the town and become part of the new kingdom they would build together. Bubba was given some land in the dark oak forest to set up a base and gather everything he needed to prepare for his fight. Knowing he had little time and less intel, Bubba decided to gear up first. He had time to figure out how to get to the end once he knew he could survive it. He set out and soon found a small abandoned mine. If he could just find diamonds quickly, half his prep work would be done. Days passed without luck. Bubba saw plenty of gold and iron, but not a single diamond. Just as he began to lose hope, he spotted a vein for 3 diamonds. It wasn't nearly enough for a full set of armor, but it would at least get him an enchanting table. With renewed hope, he pressed on, but soon found himself face to face with a tall, shadowy being with purple eyes. The second Bubba looked into those eyes, the thing attacked him. It seemed to phase in and out of being as if it could teleport. The thing struck and knocked him back into a pool of water. As it tried to attack him again, something strange happened. The monster let out a horrible scream and disappeared the moment its feet touched the water. Bubba stayed where he was for several minutes, breathing heavily. He seemed to be making sure the thing wouldn't come back. Once he was sure the coast was clear, he left the water, and indeed left the entire mine to go back up to the surface and find the village chief to ask exactly what that thing was. Upon hearing the story, the village chief said rather matter-of-factly, "The thing you encountered was an Enderman, a normally non-violent entity that is known to attack if you look at its eye. In fact, those eyes are necessary to making Eyes of Ender. They are the keys which unlock the End Portal. To be able to fight the dragon, you need 12 of these eyes." This was news to Bubba. Of course, he knew of the stronghold and the End Portal, but he never knew it had to be unlocked. It seemed his small misfortune was truly lucky. He now knew he had to hunt for those eyes, and how to make them into Eyes of Ender. Bubba scoured ancient tomes borrowed from the village library until finally he found it. To craft Eyes of Ender, one needs the eye of an Enderman and blaze powder, an item from the Nether. The Nether, Bubba later frowned, is an awful place full of nothing but fire. Lava flows like water, and every being wants to kill you. There he'll find blazes, the being needed to create blaze powder, and a place where Endermen seem to frequent, an eerie place in the Nether called the Warped Forest. Armed with this new knowledge and a little good luck, Bubba was able to gather everything he needed for his fight. He forged a full set of diamond armor and crafted a bow, a sword, and a shield. A striking and intimidating banner was given to Bubba by the village chief to adorn his shield. They were beautiful tools just awaiting their time to shine. Soon enough, he and the guild set off for the stronghold, the entrance to the End. Upon arriving and locating the End Portal in this huge underground structure, Bubba and his troop did a last check and activated the portal. One by one, they jumped in. Bubba took his first look at that big black dragon with its purple eyes and knew this was a fight he had to win. But damn, Lizard kept healing. Bubba then saw the towers with 10 glowing crystals seemingly giving endless health to the dragon and knew what they had to do. With a signal from Bubba to the rest of the guild, they split into teams, each going to destroy one of those crystals. It was a long and grueling battle. Even with the enchantment, Feather Falling, if that dragon knocked you into the void, it was over. Many guild members almost lost their lives, but finally the crystals were gone and the dragon was taking damage. Bubba took aim with his bow and sent an arrow right into its creepy purple eye. Arrow after arrow bloomed like white flowers out of the dragon's body. Suddenly, the dragon was landing, and then it was a free-for-all. Every guild member and his sword slashed any part of the dragon they could reach. With a loud cracking sound, followed by a scream from the dragon, it started ascending. Cracks of purple light began to appear across its skin, sounding like fireworks being set off. Then, suddenly with the loud bang, the dragon exploded into tiny, glowing balls, and an exit portal appeared. The dragon was dead, its egg obtained as proof. Together, the guild jumped into the portal and went to tell the villagers the good news. Unfortunately, they were met with a nasty surprise. Apparently, the guild wasn't the only ones busy during the months of prep to get ready for this trip to the End. Herobrine had successfully tracked down the royal family and the rest of the people who escaped with them. He immediately set out with his men and went to destroy these pathetic cowards as a warning to never defy him again. He would kill all who opposed him, a true tyrant. The day his ships landed on the shore just outside the village was the same day that the guild had defeated the Ender Dragon. A nasty battle was already underway as the guild jumped into the portal to be sent home. Many villagers were already dead, houses were burning, and screaming filled the air as much as the smoke and sparks. Bubba arrived just in time to see the village chief give his life trying to block Herobrine's sword from killing a small, defenseless child. Imagine arriving from one grueling but successful battle and want to share your victory with the chief. Show him the dragon egg you carry. He's your friend and elder after all. Only to see Herobrine put a sword through that kind, elderly chief's chest. Bubba saw red and charged into battle. His blade clashed against Herobrine's. Time passed. It seemed like hours they were locked together in a bitter dance of death. Countless items littered the ground, marking where a villager or an invader had died. As the sun began to set, the only two still desperately fighting were Bubba and Herobrine. The outcome was already decided after all. Herobrine had underestimated them and didn't even equip his men in diamond armor. Instead, the iron and chainmail wore down quickly, and those who didn't want to die surrendered to the guild and villagers. Most of Herobrine's forces were his captured victims, and they didn't want to be there anyway. Some even joined the guild's side as the battle began. This was Herobrine's destined defeat. After a long, excruciating struggle, both Bubba and Herobrine were battered, bruised, and bleeding. Herobrine was worked off and soon collapsed, breathless, Bubba's blade still in his chest. He was finally defeated. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Bubba collapsed next to the body of his slain foe, his battered shield beside him. The guild and the king's guard made quick work of the rest of Herobrine's men who were truly loyal. By the following morning, all signs of the battle were gone. The items of Herobrine and his men were taken out to sea to be given a water burial. Bubba would never allow invading killers to be laid to rest on this land where his friends had fought and died. The slain village chief was given a grand funeral. He was a hero who lost his life for this land and its people. To honor him, it was decided the town would receive the name of his homeland, Asgard, a land Herobrine had unfortunately destroyed years before, but would now be rebuilt upon the ashes of Herobrine's tyrannical rule. For the next 6 months, things went smoothly, and soon the castle was finished. Now Bubba could turn his attention to his little temporary base in the forest and turn it into a real home. He was finally able to hang up his weapons and truly learn to live in this land he fought so hard for. Then, week after week and month after month, new buildings and businesses took shape. Eventually, after many years passed, that tiny village finally turned into the large, bustling port city with everything you could need. Large rolling fields supply the city with grain, and livestock graze in the pastures. Bells ring out from the old guild hall. The new guild leader, one of Bubba's descendants, had it converted to a school once it became too small for the guild's needs. Now they have relocated to a new large hall built on the side of the mountain. It's equipped with practice facilities, classrooms, and a large main hall for communal meals and socializing with fellow guild members. Inside the guildmaster's office, on display for future generations, just as he had wished, is the armor and tools used by Bubba, now known as the Hero of Legend, to defeat the Ender Dragon and kill Herobrine. Bubba had proudly named his tools after the battle. His bow became Asgard's Spirit, his sword Asgard's Bane, and his shield became known simply as Dragon Slayer. They are all enshrined in the guild hall along with all written records of the guild from its founding till now. The sea is awash with ships bringing in fish, and a new lighthouse guides them home in the dark. Cries of "for sale" can be heard from the shops around the city. All is safe and peaceful. The hard-fought battle for freedom in this land seems like a distant dream to this new generation of residents. All is peaceful, just as our heroes wished. And that is the story of our town. I'd like a 2-page paper on what you think is the most important thing Bubba did by next week. There's the bell. Class dismissed.